So 3 things Unbossed will focus on are clean water, clean air, and clean food. We're gonna continue to do that because people need these things, the basics to live. We're not even going fancy when we talk about clean air, clean water, clean food. It is really about the basics. So residents are still bearing the brunt of the water crisis, which took hold of the area following a breakdown of the city's water pump systems. Sadly, things have gotten much worse. So here is, before we go deeper, it's important to understand how all of this started. So here's a quick breakdown from a Washington Post article because I want you to remember what got us to this point in Jackson. So in 2021, a harsh winter storm knocked the system out for a month. Even when water is flowing from the taps, residents struggle with intermittent boil water advisories and high bills for water that is not always safe to drink. We want to fast forward to September of this year. This week, in part because of severe floods, the treatment plant failed completely, leaving the city's residents without water to drink, bathe, or even to flush their toilets. Sisters and brothers and family and friends, we talking again about the basics. And this decline of infrastructure, because this is really a failure of infrastructure, has been going on for decades. This is not new, and especially because of racist policies that do not treat cities where there is a majority Black population or majority of color the same. So Mississippi has a long history of white political leaders purposefully and sometimes illegally steering needed funding away from Black communities. In response, Black Mississippians have demanded access to clean water and public services, recognizing that these are fundamental civil rights. This is a fundamental civil rights issue. And history really does repeat itself, and oftentimes some of the most rotten parts of history. And leaders like Governor Tate Reeves, who has failed the people of Jackson, made fun of their plight. Take a look at this.
I tell you, it is a great day to be in Hattiesburg. It's also, as always, a great day to not be in Jackson.
The audacity of this governor. I mean, really, he's the governor of the entire state. But in that clip, he didn't comport himself as such. And he doesn't seem, John, to have the fierce urgency. And now, we said folks don't have access to water. Water is needed to live. I mean, this is not a luxury. So the audacity of him, who has had a long running grudge against Jackson. Let's put this up. Years before people in Jackson were recently left without running water for several days, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves claimed to have helped block money to fund the water system repairs in that city. That city is the capital. Let me remind you, Jackson is the capital. And whether it's the capital or not, still, it's important to know that. As Reeves claimed that Mississippi political leaders, he cited his opposition to financially helping the capital as evidenced by his fiscal conservatism. John, please help me understand this.
The video that you just showed is a great example of how this side loves to declare the other side un-American, not sufficiently patriotic. If you're not constantly saying nice things about America, you should probably just leave, even though they've called their entire movement Make America Great Again, implying that there's something lacking there right now. But when they say that, they mean something very specific. They don't mean America like the whole America. They mean parts of America where like generally you're surrounded by people with a similar shade of skin as you. They love writing off whole parts of the country, cities, more so than perhaps any other. And so that's how you get to a situation like this. They don't prioritize the infrastructure of places that they consider bad or distasteful. And then when the problem actually exists, they can joke about it. It's difficult for other people to joke about it because it's a tragedy, an ongoing one. And I'm so glad that you and the show are focusing on this because while thankfully and kind of semi-surprisingly, the situation there actually did make national news, that is very much in the past tense. And while the problem remains, the news trucks have moved on, and it's not really shocking. Like it makes one wonder if this was Austin would it be irrelevant? Would the media not be talking about it? If it was Boston, I don't know. Like, it seems convenient and easy for the media to briefly check in on this, talk about it, and then move away before water service is resumed while people are still at risk of getting sick from the water, assuming that they're getting any water, that they could still be getting sick from it. It's just disgusting. You would hope that we would be better than this, that we would band together, that we could solve this problem. But apparently we either don't have the will or the desire to spread the resources.
So true, John. It is disgusting indeed. It reminds me a lot of what happened in Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan was the canary in the coal mine, and we see now Jackson, Mississippi. There are other areas in this nation that are not talked about at all, that have contaminated water or soil. So this is something that we all need to pay attention to, because but by the grace of God, there goes any of us, any day, at any moment, that could be us. Now, Jackson did receive some federal funding this year. I want to make sure that people understand that Jackson garners $20 million in federal legislation for water woes. But when you are in a crisis like this, seconds matter, minutes matter, moments matter, and we have no time to waste on this. So every single elected leader needs to comport themselves as if their hair is on fire, or better yet, comport themselves like it is them, their children, or their mama or daddies that is lacking access to clean water. Jackson, Mississippi, baby, we sending you love, and we are going to keep lifting your story. Yes, we are. And shout out to Mayor Lumumba doing the best that he can under these kinds of circumstances. John, I'm hot about this. I'm hopping mad about this. So we're gonna stay tuned